Welcome to Andy and Ari on 3, and it is time for the polls. That's right, preseason polls. We got all kinds of polls. We got the coaches' polls out. We got our own Brett McMurphy at On 3, who's an AP poll voter. We're going to talk about his ballot. Ari, there's so many polls. I'm going to have to do my own top 25 again because I realize I've made mistakes in mine. Mistakes were made.
I don't miss voting in it myself. I don't know if you do. Because it's kind of a lot on Saturdays. I personally think that the AP poll should come out on Wednesday and give people
our
2 or 3
friend Ralph
days.
Russo, who now works for The Athletic, was in charge of collating all the votes for the AP poll when I was a voter. And there was a point after a national championship game where I nearly killed him because I was trying to write a story on deadline and he was coming up and trying to get me to give him my final poll ballot. I'm like, Ralph, I don't care. Don't care right now. We know who won the national championship. Doesn't matter anymore.
I'm sure that was the least fun that he had doing that. But like nobody puts thought into it because no one has time to put thought in it.
Or when you do put thought into it after week 1 and you're moving stuff around and you forget that you took Ohio State out because you're going to move them somewhere else in the top 5, and then you send it before you realize you didn't put Ohio State back in, and it comes out and it's like Andy Staples didn't rank Ohio State, and I'm like, oh God, I ranked 2. Here's how I would have done it.
But I do like talking about polls because it gives us a benchmark on where things stand both before the season while also during it, while not really meaning anything anymore. I'm really excited to talk about this specific poll that we have on the screen with our buddy and now coworker and part of the On 3 National Dream Team, because I've got some gripes here, and I think he was like, "Don't make fun of me about my poll," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, we'll see how that goes." But that's the point of doing it.
How many times has that phrase been uttered? Don't make fun of me about my poll.
I said it a lot in high school.
Let's bring on Brett McMurphy, our own Brett McMurphy. So can we give people the background on what our own Brett McMurphy means? Why that is the inside joke? Why we always say it, Brett?
Yeah. So in a previous life, I worked for ESPN. I was there 4.5 years. I was part of one of their massive rounds of layoffs. So I basically had a non-compete for 1.5 years where I could only tweet or put stuff on Facebook if I was reporting anything. So after I'd been laid off, a couple of months later, UCF is playing Memphis in the American Championship game, and I get a tip, track it down, that Scott Frost was on his way to Nebraska. Well, I report that during the game. I tweet that. Steve Levy, who I love to death, is on the air doing the game and says there are reports that UCF coach Scott Frost is leaving after the game to go to Nebraska. First reported by our own Brett McMurphy. Unfortunately, Steve forgot that I had been laid off. And so that caused a lot of, traction on Twitter. And a lot of people saw that. And I tweeted, quote, our own with the, winking emoji. And so that kind of stuck. So I saw Levy, I think, 1 year after that. And I said, I go, hey, buddy, I appreciate our own comment. I owe you a couple beers. He goes, hell, for all the promotion you got, you owe me a case of beer. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, we're really happy to have you. And, there's been a lot of news in the On 3 sphere early this week, which we'll get to in the back half of the show. Andy will take you through all of them. You have an outline, right? Because you're going to need something to reference during all the rundowns, but we're really excited to have you here, and hopefully you'll be a main fixture on our show for the season and years to come.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
Unless Ari makes fun of your poll and you just dip out. Never again.
Exactly. Never again.
Want to get into it?
Fire away.
I do, because that number 1, like that big G at number 1 sticks out because it's interesting. Like in the past 3 or 4 years, seeing Georgia at number 1 shouldn't shock anyone. But coming off of the way last season ended, changing quarterbacks, you may be the only, do you think you're going to be the only AP poll voter who has Georgia at number 1?
I don't know. And I want to be clear. I did not do that to be the guy who's you're the guy that's doing the oddball top 25. No, I put them there because look, my top 7: Georgia, Penn State, Texas, Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame. You could rank any of those guys number 1. I would not have an issue with it. I just put Georgia there because I think Texas is going to be the preseason number 1. I'm not sold on Arch Manning yet. I think he's very good. I think he's going to be very good. But, Feinbaum saying he's the best quarterback since Tim Tebow. I love Feinbaum, but he was out in the sun too long to say something like that. Penn State.
Also, Cam Newton is a person who has played quarterback in college since Tim Tebow left.
Yeah.
There's already been a best quarterback since Tim Tebow.
There's a few guys. If everything before this year wouldn't have happened, I probably wouldn't have Georgia number 1, and I probably wouldn't have Penn State number 2. But I think part of me looked at the success Georgia has had. And like you said, Andy, they've been preseason number 1 in the past. I don't think they're not going to be number 1. Will I be the only one that puts them at 1? We'll find out. They've got more wins, more conference title berths, more national championships in the last 4 years. I think it was a priority to improve wide receiver. They bring in Branch from USC, who I think is dynamic and will be an instant impact. And, oh, by the way, they had the worst, at least the most drops in the nation last year at wide receiver. They will be improved. So that's going to help Gunnar Stockton. And, look, we're big on recruiting at On3 and Rivals. I think every year, but Kirby's first year, Georgia has had a top 3 class. So, yeah, they lose guys to the NFL. They're going to replace those guys. I can see why people don't have him number 1, but I kind of put him there because, look, I could have picked any of those 7. The reason I didn't put Penn State there is if it was just right now, if you dropped me out of the sky and said, who's the number 1 team, not based on anything else, I'd say Penn State. Drew Aller back, the best running back duo in the country coming back, and Jim Knowles coming over as the defensive coordinator from Ohio State. But until James Franklin wins a second big game, he's 1-15 against top 5 ranked teams. I cannot put them at number 1. If that changes, I will put them at number 1. And so basically, Georgia has shown me what they can do. And I love the fact that everybody's doubting Georgia. Kirby will use that to the nth degree. So that's why I have Georgia up there. For what it's worth, last year, I may have been the only one that had Oregon number 1. Oregon went 13-0. They just didn't deliver in the playoffs. Will Georgia run the table for me? I don't know, but they're projected to be favored in every game.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. One, I think that it's interesting that this is probably the first poll in our adult lives, or maybe since 2002 or 2000 or the late 90s, where you could have 7 different teams that you could argue could be number 1, which makes this more difficult.
I'd say 8. I think I'm looking at Brett.
Did I leave out?
No, I think your top 8
Oregon could be there too.
Yeah, your top 8. I wouldn't be shocked if any of them won the national title. Your top 8, my top 8 are the same 8 teams. River, can you show me the coaches poll? Is that the top 8 in the coaches poll too? Because I bet it is. Yep, same 8 teams. So it's some combination. And this is the craziest part. I would venture to guess that 75% of the people who have a poll will have these 8 teams in their top 8 in some order. Texas, Ohio State.
And even if they don't have a poll.
Yeah, right. Georgia, Penn State, Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, Oregon. Yeah. What are good guy.
I'm sorry.
So, hey, real quick.
Juveniles.
Yeah, on something Andy said, and I'll have a story Monday at on3.com promotion there for people that want to subscribe to us and join the party.
For your first.
But Andy said, since 2004, so basically the last 22 years, every year except 2 years, the eventual national champion was ranked in the top 7 of the preseason AP poll. So for whatever that's worth, history shows if you're in that top 7, you were going to win the national championship, with only 2 exceptions in the past 21, 22 years.
Here's where
before we go, let me read this for the podcast listeners. I'm going to read Brett's poll just so they have some context. Georgia number 1, Penn State 2, Texas 3, Clemson 4, Bama 5, Ohio State 6, Notre Dame 7, Oregon 8, Miami 9, LSU 10, Michigan 11, Texas A&M 12, K-State 13, SMU 14, Florida 15, Illinois 16, Utah 17, Oklahoma 18, Tennessee 19, Arizona State 20, Ole Miss 21, USC 22, Texas Tech 23, Indiana 24, Louisville 25. You go, Ari.
So here's my thing with the polls. And I think that part of the reason why people struggle with the polls so much in terms of the nature of them is that everybody does it their own way. And the thing that I have a hard time with, Brett, and you are probably more regular than me, but when I put together my poll, and not just the ones that are on 3, but when I actually voted in it, my only concern was to try to predict the future. And I didn't really take too much credence on what happened in the past. So things like Georgia's won a bunch of games and Kirby Smart's a good coach and all those things don't go into the calculus for me. What goes into the calculus for me is who's on the team and how good do I think they are right now. And like, I just have a hard time with Georgia. That doesn't mean that they can't win the SEC championship or the national championship. We know what Georgia is. They're a recruiting machine with a proven track record of winning. But I don't know that I could look you in the eyes and say Georgia's team is maybe even in the top 5, let alone number 1. And like that, to me, might age poorly. And I'm sure Georgia fans will clip this and call me an idiot. But it is, for me, what do we look at on August 5th or August 6th, whenever the show goes up? And what do we think today is the best metric for trying to project what the team will be in December? And I think the players on the team and where they are, not that Georgia doesn't have great players, but I'm not sure I see them number 1 right now. Andy, do you see what I'm saying? Or
oh, I get it. I do get it, but I actually
you think about
really
the past in your poll when you do it.
No, but I mean, well, certain things in the past, like what Brett said about Kirby always having a top 3 recruiting class, I think that does inform.
But that's roster
prediction of the future. Yeah, that's current roster. I do understand. I don't necessarily put anything that happened like what happened in Kirby's 2nd, 3rd year. It was a different sport then, so I'm not worried about
does
that.
James Franklin's record against AP top 5 teams matter to you when putting your poll together?
I mean, yeah, because it is indicative of what might happen when he's.
If you're trying to predict future success, James Franklin's 1-15 for better or worse. He's 1-15, and I agree with everything you said, Ari. Except you kind of contradict yourself because you say you're trying to project how the season's going to play out. Georgia's favored in every game, so if they do what they're supposed to do, what the power ratings say, what the odds makers say, they're going to be 12-0.
Yeah.
Will they be 12-0? That's a different story.
No, I think whether Georgia's actually going to be favored in every game when we get to those games is another story. We'll have to see. But
what would they be favored in against the other teams that are in the top 8? Would they be favored in every one of those
games?
Glad
you asked. Well, I can tell you just on their schedule, they will be right now. They project to be about a 4 or 5 point favorite at Tennessee. They'll be a 3.5 point home favorite against Alabama, and then the only other lines
they're favored
that
against Texas right now.
Yes, 2.5. And they're projected a 7-point favorite against Florida in a neutral field. Now, like Andy said, the results can change those things. Last year, they were an underdog twice to Texas, and they beat Texas both times. They get Texas and Alabama in Athens as opposed to on the road. I mean, again, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just kind of trying to give you my line of thinking. And it wasn't necessarily, well, Georgia's been really good the last few years, so they're going to continue this year. It's kind of more what Andy said. They've stockpiled all of this talent. And again, until James Franklin shows he can win a big game, I can't pull the trigger and put them at number 1. When everything else says they probably should be number 1 with the talent and the acquisition at defensive coordinator.
I really want to hone in on Penn State here because I think they're more interesting than Georgia. I think Georgia's going to be good. So here's the thing with that. The 1-15 or 1 whatever of James Franklin's record in those top 5 matchups. I don't know the answer to this, and I've been meaning to look this up, but I'm probably going to venture to say they weren't favored in any of them. If I had to guess, they probably weren't the favorite. And I think part of the reason why is because James Franklin's teams, though very good, have struggled in big time games against teams that are equipped to win a national title when they've been a step behind. So in my opinion, this is the first year where Penn State actually, you could say right now with a straight face that Penn State has the best, deepest roster in college football. That's never been true at any point during my professional career. So if you are to go back and look at his 1-15 record in those big games, sure, he probably should have won a few of the ones that they were in because they play close. And you could criticize his coaching from that standpoint, but he never lost games that Penn State was even supposed to win. And I think this is the first time in his tenure at Penn State where he will be going into games that they should win and will be favored to win. This is his best team. So I don't take any account into, well, he's been terrible in big games. It's like, this is the first time his team's equipped to win them. You know what I mean? Like, and so like, to me, I put Penn State number one because I look at their team and I say, hey, this is the best team I see on paper right now. Now, I might look like an idiot, but that's my calculus of it. And Penn State being number two is, it's not like he's saying they stink, but like James Franklin's record will either be the black cloud that we talk about for, the next few months, or finally he'll break through and go 1-1 against Ohio State and Oregon and do something in the playoff. But I really think this is like, you want to judge James Franklin. I think what he does with this team this year will be the ultimate, like, sample size in an experiment or a biological, lab where he has a great team. He's supposed to win games. What does he do in those big games now? Like what he did in 2017 in that big game has no bearing on me at all.
All right, to Ari's point and to use Brett's reasoning, which I love, it's the old Phil Steele, like how many games are you going to be favored in?
Yeah.
And it's really like we had Bill Connolly on the show the other day with SP Plus. Like that is what SP Plus tries to predict is how many games are you going to win? Oregon, Penn State. Any guess? I'm on BetMGM right now. Any guess as to the line for Oregon at Penn State on September 27th?
Power ratings show Penn State minus 8.7.
Penn State minus 4.5 is you can get it right now on BetMGM.
Is Ohio State now?
I'm looking to see if they've got it up there yet. They do. Are you ready? You ready for that one?
Are they
Ohio
minus?
State,
they're plus
Ohio
3,
State,
plus 2.5.
minus 3.5.
Ohio State minus 4.5. So yeah, Penn State's 4.5 point dog in that one. So
Ari, I agree. I'm 1-15 sounds great. We're not going back to 1990 or anything. Let's go back 2 years. 2 years ago, 4-point dog against Ohio State, 4-point dog to Michigan. Last year, 3-point dog to Ohio State, 3-point dog to Oregon. Basically, literally toss-up games. He's 0-4 in those games. So I am looking at recent results, but obviously the 1-15 sounds a lot better than 0-4. But I do take that into account. Those are 4 games, coin flip games, slight underdogs, and Franklin has not won those games. I love James Franklin as a coach. I think he's a great coach. For whatever reason, they have not won those games. They should have beat Ohio State last year, but they didn't. And so that's why I'm dinging them slightly from 1 to 2.
Why should they have beaten Ohio State last year?
I mean, I don't remember the game like play by play specifically, but if I remember right, I thought they were down. They had multiple times at the goal line. Either they didn't score or they committed a turnover or fourth down. Turnover on downs. I mean, it was a game. Again, just off the top of my head, they should have won. Let me look at something.
They had a pick 6 on the first drive, and I did think they turned it over or went for it on fourth down from inside the 2-yard line. It might have been twice, but like Ohio, like it's like, are we gonna? And I like your points, Brett. Like I don't want to come across as combative.
No, you're fine. You fire away.
I think that I remember the game as 4 quarters of Penn State being lucky to be in it still.
Okay. When the yardage was
Penn State never really did mount an offensive threat in that game. That was really the issue there, which it came home to roost in the second half of that Orange Bowl against Notre Dame too. It's the like same.
Two of the 4 losses that were just, and those I guess were toss-up games, but like came to the eventual national champion.
Yeah, true, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that Penn State wants, and like Penn State's always been really good, and Penn State's always been a top 8 to 14 team every year, but in a season in which I actually expect them to potentially win the Big Ten, or to win those games and actually be favored in one of them, as you just said with the Oregon game. Like, this is to me the ultimate test. If James Franklin goes 0-2 in the regular season again, I'll be on your side of the equation. But I just don't like using past results to guide future thinking when past results aren't equitable from a roster standpoint. And that's always been my deal. And that's part of the reason why I tried to predict that Texas would turn a corner before the season 2 years ago. People went insane and said that Sark's never won 10 games before and that Texas blows it all the time. And what do? They go to the playoff because they have better players. Like, Penn State's got good players this year, better players than maybe they've ever had cumulatively.
Before we continue this, and because we do have, I want to go over the coaches poll with both you guys, but I also want to have a question for Brett that's going to enrage a certain fan base.
Do I know?
In the state where I was born. But before
family.
that, we have a new sponsor alert. Academy Sports and Outdoors. At Academy Sports and Outdoors, they carry all the gear you need from all the top brands, all at prices you'll love. And now shopping at Academy is more convenient than ever. They offer free assembly on in-store purchases of most bikes and grills. And Ari, we're going to talk about that in a second. Plus, free and easy curbside pickup on academy.com orders. Want to save even more every day? Open and use an Academy Sports and Outdoors credit card to get 5% off future purchases when you're approved. Save time and money at Academy Sports and Outdoors and have fun out there. Ari, how excited are you that if you go buy a grill at Academy, they will put it together for you?
Yeah, no, that's I wouldn't do it if they didn't. So, like that, I do think that any store that offers free assembly or assembly of any kind, I'll pay the premium. It doesn't matter. Academy.
But there is no premium. That's the beauty of Academy. You pay for the grill, the bike. It's yours. They put it together for you. And so get yourself to Academy Sports and Outdoors. We will be there quite a bit this fall. All right,
They've got everything, Andy. They have everything.
They do have everything. Absolutely. Let's talk about the Gamecock in the room, or the Gamecock that's not in Brett's poll. No South Carolina in your top 25. Now, I've said to people, and I'm probably guilty of doing this wrong in my poll, at least one of these SEC schools that we are hyping up as a potential playoff contender is going to finish unranked. So you're putting your comb on the table here, the Cox comb on the table, and saying it's South Carolina.
Can I respond?
I'm ready.
Okay. First, I got an email.
Uh-oh.
Actually got an email from Gabriel. I won't put out his last name because I don't want to do that to him. But Gabriel sent me an email.
Beamer.
Yeah. Big fan of your work is the title. And then he says, that title is a lie. Your list was garbage. What's your vendetta against South Carolina? Mad because they beat your favorite team or something? Maybe it's time to retire, old timer. You're clearly becoming senile. Best, a disrespected South Carolina fan. So there you go, Gabriel.
Best. I like you like best with warmest regards.
Best, comma, yeah.
I hope you crawl in a hole and die with warmest regards.
But he might have uncovered something there. If you want to talk trash to somebody, do the subject line as like something super nice. They're more likely to read.
No, look,
said with all due respect.
No, I do. I will read any email I get. So it doesn't matter how bad it is. I'm impressed he didn't have profanity in it. I do not read comments on Twitter. It's too much time. I know Andy does that. I can't do it. But yeah, if people take the time to email me, I will respond. Why no South Carolina? Okay. Let's take away what I think. They are power rated as the 10th best team in the SEC. That's not me. That's the power ratings. Should the 10th best team be in the top 25? Maybe, maybe not. You shouldn't disqualify them, but let's say that they're the 10th best team. Obviously, Lenore Sellers, dynamic quarterback, one of the best in the country, no question. My reasoning for not putting South Carolina in there is I do not have a vendetta against South Carolina. I do not have a vendetta against Shane Beamer. I love the state of South Carolina. I've visited many times. They lost a ton on defense. I believe 5 players to the NFL draft. You look at their schedule. You're talking about projecting the season.
Mm-hmm.
Of their 12 games, they're only going to be a favorite by more than 10 points in 3 games. Okay? So basically, the other 9 games are going to be literal toss-ups. They are projected, again, it's projections, to be an underdog in their final 6 SEC games. Their win total, I believe, is 7.5. Off the top of my head, I may be wrong.
It is 7.5. You're
okay,
right.
So 7.5. So should a team that's projected to go 7-5 or 8-4 be a top 25 team? In my opinion, hey guys, it's just my opinion. No, they should not. That's why they're not in my top 25. Good news for South Carolina. Last year, top 25 poll, the preseason poll. We have all this information. I'll give you, each of you guys take a guess. Of the top 25 teams in the preseason poll, how many finished the year ranked out of 25?
13.
Ari?
I was going to say 11.
12. You guys nailed it. You can flip a coin, have better luck getting the top 25 right. So the good news is, South Carolina, I don't have you in there. So you can be in the final poll. The bad news is you'll probably be in the preseason top 25 poll, which means you got a 50-50 shot of staying in there.
You also have the top 8 teams in the SEC in the poll, so they're probably just kind of bitter about the cutoff. And like the number one thing that you'll hear from SEC land, which is what we heard all of last year, is, how could you possibly have the 9th best team in the SEC is better than the 3rd best team in every other conference? And how could, it's like, I don't know that you can't even argue what the power ratings say, but it's like, are they not as good as Indiana? I think is where you're going to get catchback or flack. Are they not as good as Louisville? Like, that's where I think the problem is.
And that is a solid argument. I don't go exclusively power ratings because I think it was last year you talked about Bill Connolly was on, I think, S&P. After Alabama lost to Vanderbilt, ESPN's power ratings, S&P, whatever it's called, still had Alabama number 1. So that's my issue with the power ratings. They don't seem to hurt teams when they lose. Obviously, when we get more into the season, if you lose games, even against a good opponent, I think you still have to suffer the consequences a little bit. And Ari, kind of a team that sums up perfectly your point is what to do with Florida. I have them at number 15. Power rating wise, they're close to the top 10 by some people's opinion that are smarter than me. But you look at the schedule, I've got 7 teams on my preseason top 25 that Florida plays this year. And, Andy knows it better than I do. If DJ Lagway is not healthy, they're going to be fighting to stay at 500. If he's healthy, they can beat anybody. 6-0 as a starter last year. If Florida played Indiana's schedule, I would bet whatever money I had on Florida to make the college football playoff. The problem is Florida does not play Indiana's schedule. They play Florida's schedule. So do you penalize Florida for playing arguably the toughest schedule, or do you put them where they are based on how good they are at least for Florida, I put them where I think they are based on where they are as a team, and did not penalize them as much maybe as others for the schedule that lays ahead.
See, I think you have to put a stake in the ground with Florida. They're either probably a playoff team or unranked. Well, that's the other place you could put the stake. Like, they could be 10-2 or they could be 6-6, and it's a pretty fine line that probably has a lot to do with DJ Lagway's health.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the issue we've got with the future of the college football playoff. I know you guys have discussed before with the automatic bids or not automatic bids. We can't compare teams out of conference when we can't even compare teams within the conference because of the disparity of the schedules. And Florida is a prime example. I did a radio hit with our friends in Arkansas, and I don't know if there's a tougher 5-game stretch than what Arkansas has. When they go, I think it's Ole Miss. What is it?
We looked at this because this is the one with Notre Dame in it too.
At Memphis, Notre Dame, at Tennessee, Texas A&M. Yeah, well, there's a group of 5 in there that will be the biggest game that group of 5 team has ever played at home. And so the Arkansas folks are like, hey, can we get a schedule like somebody else other than Florida? Because ours is incredibly hard.
Well, I will see you Arkansas and raise you Oklahoma. River, throw Oklahoma's schedule up there. I will once again read off Oklahoma's last 7 games, and the viewers and listeners have heard this time and time again. Texas and Dallas, at South Carolina, Ole Miss, at Tennessee, at Alabama, Missouri, LSU. That is unfair. Completely unfair.
At least 5 will be ranked. I think Missouri and South Carolina are the ones that may or may not be, but you could have 7 ranked teams in that stretch. And yeah, this is, I had Oklahoma in my top 20. I think there will be drastic improvement. Certainly there better be, because Brent Venables knows what's at stake. He already has 2 losing seasons. I'm sure you guys remember the only coach to survive 3 losing seasons at Oklahoma. That was, I don't know, 100 years ago. So he's taken over defensive play calling. Obviously, they brought in the duo from Washington State to get the offense going. But that Michigan, if they lose that Michigan game, man, it's going to snowball. If they win that Michigan game, maybe they can gain some momentum before they face that murderer's row on the back half, like you mentioned, Andy.
And where they end up at the end of the year doesn't. I mean, that's for the games to decide. Where you think they are now is where they are, regardless of what their schedule. Like, that's the hard part with, like, how many games is Georgia favored in? How many games is Oklahoma favored? That's probably very different depending on what's right.
Well, but you said you're trying to predict the future. So we are trying to somewhat predict what we think is going to happen throughout this season with this poll. And that's the problem. Like, people hate the preseason polls and they say, oh, abolish preseason poll. No. They're never going to get rid of preseason polls, because you click on them, you comment on them, you're going to watch this video because we talk about them. Like, they're very interesting to people. We just, as humans, love to see things ranked in order and love to disagree with the order.
Well, they're also going to get much harder to do. Like, they used to be very easy to do.
The other piece of this is it's going to change. Like, I don't know about you guys, but with the way I rank teams or project the playoff, all that stuff, once the season starts, I'm throwing all of the past stuff out and just worrying about the season.
That's right. I mean, like, On3 puts us in a tough position in the most beautiful way possible, because we have to start doing the first. I do bubble watch after week 1, which is insane. But you do your best to, hey, what did I see this weekend? Where do I think these teams are going to be? And then you formulate it and change it as the year goes on. But, this, to me, I think, how many of the teams in the top 15 could conceivably win the national title this year? I think you could make the case that it's 11.
I don't know. I agree. I agree with Andy. I don't think you go beyond 8.
I think it's I want to. There's 2 actually.
You could win the national title.
Well, and okay, it's your 9 and 10, Brett, and in the coaches poll, it's their 9 and 10. They're just in opposite orders.
Miami,
you have LSU. You have Miami 9 and LSU 10.
Yeah,
they have LSU 9 and Miami 10. Let's talk both of those.
I'm not going to sit here, though, and let you say that Miami could win the national title and not say that Florida could. Because I'm
not saying Florida can't.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure we were on different.
No. Listen, if Miami's on that list, Florida's on that list too.
Okay.
And they'll play each other and we'll figure out who's better.
Yeah.
But Miami's got fewer bodies to climb over. So they actually I think they have an easier path. So I think if we were going to put odds on it, I'd give Miami better odds, because basically they've got a 2-game schedule, 3-game schedule, where these SEC teams have multiple bodies to climb over, if you will, or a bigger degree of difficulty.
Yeah, because Miami can lose to Notre Dame in Florida, and if they run the table in the ACC in the regular season and then win the ACC, they're in the playoff as a 7 seed.
If you're an SEC fan, cover your ears, because I don't want you to melt like the Wicked Witch of the West when water gets dumped on her. But Florida can also lose an extra game and make the playoff because they play a tougher schedule. I think Florida could conceivably make the playoff at 9-3 this year.
Florida, Oklahoma, there's a few teams like that. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, Alabama and Ole Miss and South Carolina, to an extent, were in the conversation. Were the last team out, 9-3, without the strength of schedule that a Florida would have. I absolutely agree. And one kind of twerky thing to this is, projecting, what we're thinking, all that. I did my bowl projections for On3 a couple weeks ago. And who did I project as my number 1 seed? Notre Dame. Do I think Notre Dame's the best team? No. But when you look at their schedule, Miami and Texas A&M, and then a bunch of tomato cans with USC thrown in there, they probably had the easiest path, where I think Oregon was an outlier last year. I don't think we're going to see any Power 4 conference schools go undefeated anymore because of the difficulty of the schedule. And I think that opens up the possibility for Notre Dame to get that number 1 seed. Do I think that means they're going to win it? Absolutely not. But they should have less wear and tear.
Oh boy, this is
Andy. What about
fun.
What about Michigan at 11? What was the thought there?
You're asking me or Michigan or Andy?
You. I just
Yes,
I don't have Michigan at 11, so that's you.
That's me. Okay, last year Michigan could not throw the football. The offense has to be improved. With Underwood, Chip Lindsey comes in as offensive coordinator. The defense, I believe 6 guys back, which doesn't matter. You still have transfers. They should be better defensively. The last 3.5 games over last year, they only allowed 2 touchdowns, including games against the Ohio State University and Alabama. But I think, Ari, the main reason I have Michigan up at 11 is because last year Michigan only outgained 4 of their 13 opponents, and they still somehow finished 8-5. That's remarkable. Usually when teams are outgained, you guys, it's basic 101. You're going to lose those games. Michigan found ways to win without an offense that could throw the ball downfield. I just think they're going to be vastly improved on offense. I think the defense is going to be solid like it is every year. And so that's why I've got them up at 11. Will they do that? I don't know. Last year they were preseason top 10. They did not finish the year ranked. Sharon Moore joins a club of 10 active coaches who started the year with a preseason top 10 ranked team and finished the year unranked.
I love all these stats. I don't know how you remember all this. And that's me saying that.
Repetition.
Michigan is number 14 in the coaches poll, right behind South Carolina, which is not in yours. But that was a lot of fun. You're going to have to come back very regularly. So I'm just telling you right now, you work with us now. You have to come on the show whenever we ask. You're an On3 employee, and I love that I have that power that I be like, Brett, we need you. And I
love it too. I'm just hoping the next time that we have dinner together that, actually I can sit within 20 feet of Ari, because that would be a real feather in my cap. So I'm hoping Andy, that I can work up to that. I know you and I go way back, so we're good. Mm-hmm. So I'm just hoping that I can get into that inner circle with Ari, that I'm like within 20 people of him when we're actually having dinner together.
Brett.
You have to say, and he texts you all his hideous memes that basically would get you canceled if they ever showed up on screen. Yeah,
I will not confirm or deny that.
I have dark humor. That's that would get me canceled, because then they'll assume that I'm in the files, and that's you don't want to do that. You know what I mean? But yeah, Brett.
Actually, we're talking about Eli Drinkwitz at this point.
Yeah,
he brought it up, not us.
I just said the file. What you did with that is up.
Yeah.
You're talking X-Files. My bad.
Yes, right.
Old sci-fi reference there.
But I do know that the entire podcast audience now is like, what are these memes and what do they say in them? And it's way worse than you can ever imagine, people. I'm telling you. But it's
no, it's not. No, it's not.
Okay.
All right. We will be right back. We have several special announcements. We have a former SEC coach running for the U.S. Senate. Stop me if you've heard this one before. And a big-time controversy over a blurry video. We'll be right back. Okay, all right, big day here at On3. Several announcements going out. The biggest one is we have partnered with a school that, we don't talk about this school very much, but I think we're going to talk about it quite a bit more. Penn State. Josh Pate headed to his new gig, going to partner with us. He'll be on 3 will be the exclusive source for transfer portal news and data on Josh's show. His show will be available on YouTube and the normal podcast feeds, but also will be shown on the On 3 Rivals channels and Yahoo Sports. So this is part of our partnership with Yahoo Sports, and then Josh is going to come on board, and when he talks about different things in the transfer portal and recruiting, he's going to be talking about us. We may have a little crossover action. We'll see. I talked to him a little bit about it at Big Ten Media Days. So that is a fun one. Welcome to Josh Pate. We're very excited about that. Also, I've got a little side project now. Part of our partnership with Yahoo is, so I know a lot of you probably listened to the College Football Inquirer, which was the great show that Dan Wetzel and Ross Dellinger and Pat Forty did. Well, Dan went to ESPN and they couldn't do that show anymore. It's coming back, but it's going to be me and Ross Dellinger and Stephen Godfrey. So we're going to do that a couple times in the week in the off season, 3 times a week during the season. That will not, of course, have any effect on Andy and Ari on 3. I will be driving Ari crazy constantly as usual.
Yeah, it's a big day for On 3. And I'm super excited to, potentially work alongside Josh Pate. I don't know that we're 100% coworkers, but hopefully we'll treat it like that. And he can come on the show. And if he ever needs either of us, I'd love to go on his show one day. He's a really nice guy and super excited to see the success that he's had. And it's great for us to be able to, to partner with him.
Yeah, he's been really cool to us. And this is a little behind the scenes part of it. We went to work for his main competitor, the main competitor of the place he was working, and he could not have been any nicer to us. And he did not need to be. And that was always cool. And I'm just excited that now we get to be on the same side of the fence. And because his show's a monster and people love hearing him talk about college football. So I'm excited. And then the other part of it, just kind of teaming up with Yahoo. I've worked, with a lot of these guys that work there for a while. And obviously Ross and I work together at Sports Illustrated. Ross Dellinger is their star college football reporter. And so it's fun to get to do some stuff with him again, because that was one of the sadder things when I left Sports Illustrated was not being able to work with Ross anymore. So really excited about that. And Ari, have you seen the graphic that Marina made, our graphic designer? And I don't know if you fully appreciate this. It's Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, and you're one of the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but it sounds really cool. It does seem like we are on the right side of the fence here, and a lot of the things that we have going on 3 are super exciting. And we work for a person that has illustrated time and time again that he knows how to build not only a business but a successful one, and at a place that considers college football the only thing, the entire world. That hasn't been the case for me or you at any point in our careers, and it's been really cool to see them invest into our sport and us and our colleagues at a way that can get us all together. So I'm super excited about it.
And this season feels huge. Like, I don't know about, does this feel bigger than
it does,
these other college? Maybe I feel that way every year. I'm trying to, because I get this way when we get close to the season, because it's always been so long. But this season just feels so big. So I can't wait.
Yeah. And I can't wait to see what everything looks like, when it comes to the coverage that we're going to have. But you will be inundated by us and by our colleagues with all the important stories all year long. And, as we're, creeping into the middle of August already, we're right around the corner. And I know that we're both juiced to, make this show as good as we can and to continue to enjoy college football together with the family that we've created here. And super excited and can't wait to get going.
All right. So we have a couple pieces of Tennessee adjacent news. It's not all Tennessee stuff, because one involves a former Tennessee coach, and I don't know how many Tennessee fans want to claim him. So let's start there. On Monday, Derek Dooley, former Vols head coach, son of legendary Georgia coach Vince Dooley, obviously, former NFL assistant, but mostly former Tennessee head coach. He wore the orange pants back in the day. Announced that he intends to run for the U.S. Senate in Georgia, which is his home state, of course. I am fascinated by this. Obviously, we've seen Tommy Tuberville go from major college football coach to U.S. senator, but this is one where, because Tuberville,
Coach
he got
Mahomes.
fired. He got fired at Auburn, but was viewed as a good Auburn coach. Like, had a bunch of wins against Alabama. Like, if you asked Auburn people, they would have been like, yeah, we were pretty happy with his tenure. There were things we would have liked to have happened differently, but we were pretty generally happy with it. There's not a single Tennessee fan who is happy with Derek Dooley's tenure, but I don't think that translates to Georgians being happy about voting for him. That's the question.
I think that if you tank your rival and then go back to your home state, that you are a sympathetic figure to them. No,
maybe, but I will say there's a lot you can do if you're opposing Derek Dooley. If you're in a primary, or if let's say he gets through the primary and you're in the general election against him. First of all, you must ask him on the debate stage, how in the world did you sign 0 offensive linemen in the class of 2012? That was his final recruiting class at Tennessee. That is a I quit, I give up move right there. 0. And remember, there's no transfer portal at this time.
Yeah, that's insane. I'm trying to think like what the roster might have looked like, but people take 5 a year.
Yes. Yeah. Let's say you took 7 last year, you might take 3 this year. But yeah, you average 5 a year. He took 0. He did not take 10 the year before.
No, that's not a good look. What do you think the results would be if Brady Hoke ran for Senate in Ohio?
Ooh. That's a great question. See, here's the thing. I think Brady Hoke running for Senate in Ohio, them being happy he tanked Michigan, that's a lot more happiness than Georgia fans being happy that Derek Dooley tanked Tennessee. I think you'd have to have tanked Tennessee and Florida.
Well,
which and the old timers are like, Doug Dickey. No, but he was good at Tennessee. He had a bad record at Florida, but
I just think
he's a good at first in Florida too.
To be like, yeah, I'm going to go run for public office now at this point in their life. I don't understand the motivation, but I also don't understand politics. I wish him the best. Hopefully he's a good person that wants to do good things for the people of Georgia. Like I wish I had more of a,
wait, if you were running for office or if you were ever thinking about running for office, if you got him in front of a microphone, would you ever make a World War II reference where you compared your group to the Germans?
Is that what happened?
It happened. River, play the clip.
Right now we're like the Germans in World War II. All right, here comes the boats. It was coming. The binoculars, like, oh my God, the invasion is coming. All right, that's what they did. They were in the bunkers. It's coming. They call Rommel. They can't find Rommel. What do? I'm not doing anything till I get orders. Have you gotten Rommel yet? All right, and the Americans were the exact opposite. We hit the beach, and we're on the wrong spot. What do? I don't know, but these guys are firing. We better go hide over there and blow some stuff up to get up there.
Is he referring to Erwin?
Okay,
Erwin Rommel? Is that what he's doing?
He's doing Rommel. Yeah,
he's doing an impression of a Nazi.
Yes.
Okay, that's the most
ridiculous Nazi thing trying to get another Nazi on the radio. Yeah,
I've pretty never in my entire life seen anything crazier than that. I've never seen that clip.
Oh, it gets crazier. Have you heard the phrase shower discipline by any chance?
Why don't you play this clip and let me see if it tops impersonating a Nazi on a podium.
Staph infection, so we did a clinic yesterday on proper shower technique and soap and using a rag. We put some new rags in. Y'all think I'm kidding. All right, I'm serious. Yeah, I told them we had the worst shower discipline of any team I've ever been around. And so we talked a little bit about, application of soap to the rag and making sure you hit all your body. You can neglect it trying to cut corners, and it shows in how you practice and elsewhere. So I'm hoping we show some improvement in that.
This is a man, Ari, who once put 13 men on the field on defense lost to LSU because he had 13 men on the field while LSU was getting a delay of game penalty that would have cost LSU the game.
Yeah, I still think that the first video clip was a little bit crazier than the second. Although I do, did he get, like, you remember this? I wasn't around when this was, did he get completely destroyed for that?
A little bit. And Twitter existed, like social media existed at that point. So it got passed around, but it wasn't a huge thing like it probably would have been today.
That would have been a major thing. Although we're also desensitized to that word. So I don't know, what happened, but that seems pretty alarming to me.
There was McDermott from the Bills.
Yeah, he
did the 9/11 hijackers. That blew up pretty big.
Didn't he get suspended? I
don't think he gets suspended, but it's one of those things where if you don't have Josh Allen as your quarterback, it might get you fired.
But this is too uncomfortable for me to actually joke about it. Like, I don't like that. I like joking. Can we talk about the shower technique?
We absolutely can talk about shower technique.
So let me ask you this, because I'm curious about this. Here's my shower technique. And it's going to get a little graphic. Okay. Do you know what tea tree shampoo is?
Oh, yeah.
You know how it makes you tingle?
It does make you tingle everywhere.
I buy the big jug of the tea tree at home, and I get it and foam it up in my hair. Yeah, and I leave it in so that it feels like cold air is being blown. Mm-hmm. Then I take some of it on my fingers from this area, armpit, back door. Okay, so that everything feels fresh, and then I take a loofah, put my soap on it, and I scrub my armpits, like my middle area and my behind. But I'm not somebody who makes a huge effort to bend over and scrub my calves and my shins. Are you a soap everywhere person? I emphasize the crucial areas, but I don't have good coverage.
You have
soap your arms like this?
Far better shower discipline than I have. My showers last about 45 seconds unless I'm just feeling very sore and need to stand in the water.
You have to get the hygiene areas good.
Yeah, or if I'm doing the shampoo and want to let the shampoo settle for a little while, but I don't come in with a plan. Let's put it that way.
I do the same thing every time I'm in the shower. Isn't that what's showered? Everybody does the same thing. Don't they do it?
I'm not sure I do the same thing. I don't even know if I go through the same order of operations.
Oh, I have an order of operations. I go in there and it's but now it's not. I don't think about it. It just is what it is. Everybody shampoos before they soap their body, right? If you soap your body before you shampoo, you're a psychopath.
There are people who do that.
No, there aren't. I refuse.
There are. I'm a shampoo first person, but
everyone is.
But also, sometimes I forget to shampoo and start soaping up, and I'm like, oh, I got to shampoo.
River, get up here.
What?
Do you shampoo or shave or soap your body first?
I do body wash, face. Yeah, body wash, face wash, shampoo. That's my routine.
Shampoo.
But what I've learned today is I have the least shower discipline of anyone on the show. By the way,
you do shampoo.
River has a plan too.
Well, it's shampoo then conditioner, but
you put shampoo in. You shampoo your hair, you leave the soap in your hair, then you soap your body, you rinse yourself off, and conditioner is last. Are you nuts?
I might be, according to you, but
I don't know if I'm passionate. I'm curious. We should do a Twitter poll. How many people? But I will say, if you don't do tea tree shampoo, do it. There's a little added benefit that I alluded to at the beginning. Try it. It's great.
And any makers of tea tree shampoo who would like to advertise on the show, partner with us. Advertise it on 3.com.
Put a little pep in your step, literally. Yeah.
Ari, while we're in Knoxville, let's throw a couple other things out there. First of all, Boo Carter back as a full participant at practice on Tuesday. That was a whole thing. That was one of those typical off-season things like, okay, he's going to be fine. And then we'll see what happens. But also, our guy Austin Price at VolQuest has solved one of the mysteries of the weekend. So if you were on social media at all this weekend, you saw a video clip of an interception at Tennessee football practice. It was a beautiful interception. Eagle-eyed viewers of this clip noticed the person who threw the ball is blurred out. And of course, assumptions were made. Is this one of the three quarterbacks vying for the starting job at Tennessee? Joey Aguilar, of course, the transfer from Appalachian State to UCLA to Tennessee, essentially traded for Nico Iamaleava. Jake Merklinger, George McIntyre, the two young guys. Was it one of those guys? Was Tennessee protecting its precious quarterbacks because we don't know who's going to win the job and we don't want everyone piling on? Because God forbid someone throw an interception at football practice. That never happens.
Looks like Google Maps when you drive by a location that's supposed to not be seen.
Yes.
It looks like something you would see on Unsolved Mysteries. No one gives a shit. This is unbelievable.
Well, this is the Streisand effect in effect. Because had this person been unblurred, nobody would have even noticed this clip. They'd have been like, nice interception, okay, moving along. But it became a thing because of the blur. For those who don't know, the Streisand effect is there was a photographer who took pictures on the coastline in Malibu and published them, and I believe it was on a website. And one of the photos was of the back of Barbra Streisand's house. No one was actually looking at this website. Hardly, I think there were maybe several hundred views. No one knew it was Barbra Streisand's house. It wasn't until Streisand had her lawyers issue a cease and desist and try to get this thing off the internet that everybody realized it was Barbra Streisand's house, and the views of it multiplied, and then everybody knew what Barbra Streisand's house looked like.
It's the same exact thing as what happened with the ducking at the concert a few weeks ago.
Correct. So in Tennessee's case, Austin Price, the intrepid VolQuest reporter, revealed who threw the mystery interception. The thrower of the mystery interception was, drumroll please, tight end Miles Kitselman, who is not a quarterback and might throw the occasional interception. But there's an explanation for this. This was not Tennessee trying to turn nothing into something. This was not Tennessee trying to do anything to protect the quarterbacks. It's actually standard policy. They tend not to show, they try to blur out people who are in non-contact jerseys because they don't want to expose injured players. That's what it was. Kitselman's in a non-contact jersey in this video. That's why he got blurred out.
Oh man, I love when conspiracy theories turn out to just be something completely stupid and no one cares.
Which is not nearly as much fun.
Yeah.
As they're trying to protect the quarterback's egos.
I would even be more happy to believe that they were trying to run through trick plays and they didn't want you to know which athlete on the field may do that or something. This is insane.
But see, now that the world knows it was Miles Kitselman, if I'm Josh Heupel, I do put in a trick play for Miles Kitselman because now the opponent's going to be like, well, that guy just throws interceptions. They're certainly not going to run a trick play with him.
Yeah. It's in no other sport could this occur. Let's just put it that way. This is what makes college football great, and I'm happy we got to the bottom of it. And another reason to subscribe to VolQuest.
This wouldn't happen in the NFL, right? Like they never do this.
Nothing that happens in college football happened in the NFL.
Yeah, this is pure college football right here. Pure college football.
That is.
By the way, speaking of pure college football, another thing about college football: former teammates interviewing one another happens. Another addition we have here at On 3, Zak Herbstreit, son of Kirk Herbstreit, former Ohio State. Well, Kirk Herbstreit, former Ohio State quarterback. Zach's a former Ohio State walk-on tight end. He played for the team. He worked with the team while he was still in school. He's now working for us. and he's got a show called Off Script. His first guest for Off Script, Julian Sayin, the guy we think is Ohio State's QB1 this year. Roll
Big get.
So you're a Cali kid. You went originally committed to University of Alabama, and you were there for how many? Couple weeks? Just a couple weeks?
I was there for a couple weeks while they're doing bowl prep.
And then ended up transferring to Ohio State after Coach Saban left. I just kind of wanted to know, like, what was that process like for you? Why did you choose Ohio State as opposed to maybe somewhere close to home? Or
Well, when I ended up going to Alabama, I wanted to go play for Coach Saban. And when he retired, I decided to transfer, and Ohio State was just a big decision for me, and I was excited to make it just because of the quarterback development history they've had with Coach Day, and the guys like Justin Fields, C.J. Stroud coming before. They've done a great job with quarterbacks, and then just the talent they have at the offensive skill positions. It was definitely a great decision for me, and I couldn't be happier.
Watch that whole interview with Julian Sayin on the On3 Sports YouTube channel, which, by the way, you should be subscribed to, because then you'll know every time we come on as well. Ari, one more thing I want to tell everybody. Friday is a mailbag show. We love your questions. Get them in early. Dear Andy, dear Ari. Andy Staples on3@gmail.com. Ari.wasserman@on3.com. Fire away with your questions. We answer those on Friday's show. The most fun time of our week. Ari, that was a blast. And
It was a packed show. Yeah.
a little terrified that I know what you do in the shower.
It's good to know. I
know a lot. I knew a lot about you before. I feel like I really know a lot about you now.
Yeah, you're going to learn more as we go on. So happy to tell you.
Everybody, get that tea tree shampoo. Get it up in there. Let it tingle. We'll talk to you tomorrow.